So if you don't know what All-22 review is, a quick little overview. I've done a demo on it already down the page a little bit. But ultimately what it is it is a way for, it's an app for a personal coach to be able to watch film in a huddle-like environment. You see the data here. It's all offline. We can make the film a little bit bigger. We can dual screen it, things like that. Go watch the first video, the demo, to see more about how all this works. But if we want to be able to get to a menu like this, I've got to be able to clip up the film in the first place. So how we're going to get there is to go through the Libraries tab, and this button over here that looks like a share button on a normal a Mac computer. This is actually the import button here in All-22 Review, and we can either import film or import a Huddle zip. So if you download film from Huddle, download it in a single file for individual plays or however it names that. Just do that. It'll come in a zip file, import it here. All you're going to do is tell it where to save, and it should unzip that file and be ready to go for you. But what we're really trying to do here is import film. And what we've got to do here is and the main reason I made All-22 Review is it's hard to get film from a Google Drive. You get film in Google Drive, and watching it back in Google Drive is terrible because it's not a football focused environment. So there's not any good like keyboard shortcuts for playing things back. You don't have access to tying the data with the film, being able to click a play on the spreadsheet down there and say, I want to watch this play that's the first down, being able to filter. You can't do any of that in Google Drive and Dropbox and OneDrive, wherever. And we're individual coaches. Most of us high school coaches, we can't just take that film and put it in our huddle because huddle storage is a precious commodity, and I can't take up a couple hundred hours worth of our huddle storage for personal film for me to watch. So what we're trying to do here with All-22 Review is have a way to where we can watch that film offline, and a lot of the film that gets shared on Google Drives is not pre-cut. So you're just going to get a 45-minute video of this is this team's offense against this team, week 4 of whatever year. And then previously you'd have to clip it up and upload it to Huddle, or even here in All-22 Review over the last week and a half, we didn't have the ability to clip it up. And so what we're going to show here is how to make that happen. So we're going to start with this menu right here. The first thing, we have 2 options. We can import with a scan or import without a scan. So what the scan does is it actually is going to detect clips inside the film. So if you're downloading a college All-22 game or NFL All-22 game, there are different cuts. It's not just one angle continuous like you'll get from NFHS or downloading a high school game off YouTube, a stream like that. So there's actually computer software that can detect when the cuts happen. And that's what import with scan is going to do. So we're going to import a game with a scan right here, this Week 14 game against the Raiders and the Buccaneers. So when we import with scan, it's going to scan this film and look for all the cuts, and we're going to come back to this while we look at importing without a scan. So this is going to be my playoff game in the first round this past season, and I just downloaded this off of NFHS. So we're going to use this one first and talk about the shortcuts and everything while the other one is scanning in. We'll get more about minimum clip, cooldown, all those things a little bit later on. But the main clip editing window, we're going to go over here to edit clips. And so here we've got the entire film. You can see the timeline down here at the bottom. We don't have any cuts or anything yet. And we're going to talk about how to change that here and get this film cut up. So again, we don't need all this. We've got pretty intuitive keyboard shortcuts as far as using our arrows to skip ahead. If I've heard from a lot of you that have used tempo in the past, if you've ever cut up a game in tempo, this is going to be very similar in terms of the keyboard shortcuts here. I'm going to use 1 to add a cut. I'm going to use 2 to end a cut, and you can see these down here. What add cut is going to do is it's going to say this is the start of a new play. End cut says this is the end of that play. You can also see remove cut and delete clip. So remove cut here would say maybe there's a cut that accidentally happens in the middle of a play. So remove cut is just going to say this cut doesn't need to be here. Let's add these two plays together, or the two sides of this cut together. Delete clip is going to say this film, or I do not want this in the export. You need to delete it, move it to the trash can down here in the bottom corner. And the shortcuts for those are minus is the remove cut. The delete button is the delete clip button. You can also use the plus sign, technically just the equal sign because I don't have the shift in there with it, as an add cut button as well. But I like to use 1 and 2 because I can use my left hand on 1 and 2, my right hand on the arrow keys, and the space bar for player pause. So right here, we're paused. This is where I want my first clip to start, so I'm going to press 1. And you can see over here on the right side, this is where our next clip has gone. I'll show you the wide and end zone thing here in a minute because it's actually just one angle. But I don't have to watch this back from here on. I can still use my keys. All right, that's the end of the play, so I'm going to press 2. I'm going to fast forward through the replay, start the next clip. All right, that plays over 2. All right, overshot that one a little bit. All right, start the next one, plays over. Start the next one. All right, go through, plays over. And you can make this happen. You can cut a game pretty quickly just doing it that way. So real quick, you saw right there we got 5 clips. So now we go over here. I do not want this first 9 minutes over here. So I just click this clip, delete button. It's now in the trash can. So if I hit apply changes right here, these are the only clips that are going to come. We don't need to cut up this whole game. This is just a demonstration here, but you could go through the entire game and get all your clips that way. Hit apply changes, and you can see over here that I've got 5 clips ready for export. And if you do it all manually, you don't need to really worry about many of these, except our angles is actually just a 1 angle game. So we're going to take our arrows down, make that a 1 angle game. Now we go down here to edit clips. You can see they're all in the wide angle. We'll talk more about angles here in just a minute. But that's how you would manually clip up a game. Again, obviously you would go through the entire game, all that you wanted to do. But this is all that's going to get exported. This will be play 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's how long it's going to be. These are the timestamps, and it'll all be individual clips from that standpoint. All right, so now our NFL game that we scanned in is ready to go. And you can see over here, it starts out with 108 clips. And being an NFL game, the data is actually readily available inside of our studio. If you want to know more about that, send me a DM and I'll send you the articles that I've used to get started. But what I'm really looking at here is the play count. All right, so this is the play count. This video is just the Raiders offense from this game. They ran 67 plays total in this game. So I know that based on how many angles and things like that, I can figure out how many clips that I should have. And this film does have a scoreboard angle, and it's actually a 3-angle game. So I've got a wide and 2 end zone angles, 1 from each side. And if I were to take 67 times the 4 angles, the 3 plus the scoreboard, I should get 268 total clips. So what this slider does is it changes the sensitivity. The sensitivity means the farther I go left, the more sensitive it's going to find those cuts, so it's going to find more clips. The farther right that I go, the less sensitive it's going to be, so the less clips it's going to find. And so again, I need to move it left here until I get to 268. Sometimes, and this is a good instance, and a fair amount of times you'll get it to where it identifies everything correctly. But other times you might go in and spot check and see, and I'm going to show us here what that would kind of look like. So using the scoreboard here is a great way, because if I can just click this scoreboard angle, the scoreboard clips are only 3.5 seconds. So if I were to scroll down here, it's just all it's doing is it's taking every 4 clips. And the first one's the scoreboard, then it's the wide angle, then it's the end zone, then it's the end zone. The next is the scoreboard. So it's just counting. It's not like it's identifying that this is a scoreboard in the clip or this is a wide angle in the clip. It's just counting the clips. This is the first one. then every fourth clip after that is a scoreboard clip. So I can go through here. All of these are 3.5 seconds. So I should know I've got, number one, I've got the right number of clips. And then two, if I don't have the right number of clips, I can quickly see where this gets off, because I would have a 17-second clip and then a bunch of 17-second clips after this for a while. So I could see where it is. If you don't have a film that's got the scoreboard in it, not a big deal. You can still just go through your different angles, and you might not get quite the same number. Or you can go down here to all and see, all right, so this play was 9.5 seconds, 12.5 seconds, 9.5 seconds. If one of these got out of whack to where one angle was 15 seconds longer than the other, probably not the same play. You probably got off track. Or you can just kind of click through and watch them and go from there. But plenty of different ways to spot check. But here I know all my scoreboards are 3.5 seconds. And so I know that this clip, I got the right number of clips, and all these are scoreboards. So I can be pretty confident that my export here is going to be what I want it to be. I will mention the trash can here. So in the bottom right corner, you'll see all of these. I've got a bunch of 1 second and half-second clips. These are the ones that are under the minimum clip length threshold. So you can set this on a per file basis. You also have your defaults up here at the top that any video that gets scanned in is going to go through right there. So what the minimum clip does is anything under 2 seconds, or whatever I set it at, is going to be deleted. So minimum clip kind of goes along with that delete cut or delete clip that we looked at down here in the playoff game. Cooldown goes more with the remove cut. So what the cooldown basically says is, I'm not, I could put it up to, let's say, like 6 seconds. So what this is saying is, once a cut is made, I'm not going to accept another cut until the next cut after the 6 second mark, or whatever mark you set it at. So it's going to make sure that one thing that'll happen a lot in some of the films that I get is maybe there's an end zone shot, and the camera goes from showing the quarterback throwing the ball to the ball's in the air, and suddenly you get a background full of people in the stands. Well, that doesn't match up with the green of the field versus the gray black of the bleachers. So it thinks it's a different play, or it identifies a cut there, and that's not the case. So it gives me 2 7-second clips or 2 6-second clips, as opposed to 1 12, 13, 14-second clip. You can set this cooldown for 6.5 seconds, and it won't accept that cut. So cooldown basically removes the clip. The film is not going to make its way to the trash can at all, whereas the minimum clip, it will. You can restore these. You can see the red arrows right here. That's just going to say, I want to get this back in the timestamp. This particular film had a lot of quick cuts in between camera angles, where it would be showing a different, we would go from a wide angle to an end zone angle, but there would be like a second of the play before, or the next play. So it would just be like out of whack and misaligned there. So this really cut that out. So here I've got the right number of clips, got them all in order with the scoreboard. We're going to apply changes. So if I were to export this right now, I would get 268 clips. I would get scoreboard 001, wide 001, end zone 1 001, and end zone 2 001. All those, I would get separate clips per angle. And some coaches like it that way. Personally, I like whenever I get all my angles in one file. It just makes it easier, in my opinion, to share on social media and to send around in coaching group chats and whatnot. That's where the combine button comes in. So if I hit combine here, now I've got 67 plays. I go to edit clip, and you can see now, all right, clip 001, it's got scoreboard wide, end zone 1 and end zone 2 all underneath it. Then there's clip 002, and it's going to have all these angles. So now all of these 4 angles are going to be in one clip file. These 4 angles are going to be in this clip file. So depending on your flavor, it will, that's just what the combine does right there, whether you want all your angles in one file or whether you want them all separate. But that's why it's important to make sure you get everything right. Is there a scoreboard shot? how many angles do you have, because that's how it's going to piece all those together. You can change the names of these. So maybe you've got a wide angle, an end zone angle, and a tight angle, or a drone angle. You can change the names of those. You can also change the names of your files. So I wouldn't want this to be my folder name, so I could just triple click it or double click it and erase it. Whatever you type here will be the name of the file for the export. And that's just about everything except where we're saving it. So up here at the top, again, this is your default. So this is anything that I don't specify otherwise is going to get saved to my SSD in the film holding folder, or I can go down here to save to and specify that's where I want this specific film saved. So you'll identify a base folder. That's going to be where, if you don't specify anywhere else, that's where it'll save. Or if you can override that on an individual game basis. Quality and speed, that's just talking about the quality that you want your export and how quick you want it. The higher quality and the faster speed, the larger file size. The lower quality and the slower speed of export, the lower your file size is going to be. So you don't, if you've got high quality and a fast speed, you're going to get really high 20, 30, 40, 50 megabyte files for a 30-second play. That's going to inflate your storage really quickly. The best bang for your buck, and why I've got it on the default, is medium and medium. There's a pretty negligible difference in quality between the medium and high quality, where if you're not specifically looking for it, if you're not trying to tell if there's a difference, you're not going to notice one. And then speed-wise, the difference in file size between medium and slow is very negligible. So medium and medium is kind of the best bang for your buck in terms of I'm going to get a decently quick export. Now the export all depends on this could be a 4K file, and this could be a 720p file. So the exports are going to be different times. The higher quality the base file is, the longer the export's going to take. But you can kind of control those things here relative to how much storage they're going to take up. So again, higher quality is going to result in higher storage. Faster exports are going to result in more storage or larger file sizes. Slower speeds and lower quality will result in smaller file sizes. But the difference in a medium and high quality export and the difference between a medium and a slow export speed in terms of quality and in terms of file size, in terms of quality, it's not much different. File size between a medium and a slow export is also not very big either. So best bang for your buck, just keep it a medium, and you'll never be able to tell a difference. So, but you can do multiple games at one time, as you can see we've got here. When the NFL season kicks in, I'll do anywhere between 8 to 12 games every week that I'll be clipping up, and I'll just get them all here. Once they're all ready, hit process all, and you can walk away. It's just going to do it on its own from there. It'll go from one game to the next, from top to bottom. You can see right here, the top game is processing. You can pause it and things like that. Now we got our progress bar. So you can see here I've got 1 out of 67. Then down here at the bottom, I've got 1 out of 72. I've got 5 clips in the second game too. So you get a per game progress bar. How well is this individual game coming along? And then how well is my total export coming along? I didn't mention it as we were uploading or importing the film. When it comes to scanning, is the same here as exporting. It does one game at a time. It could do multiple games at a time, but the way that I think about it is, if there's 100 percentage points of energy, it can either put 100% of energy into one game, or if you have 10 games, it can split that up and do 10% across the board. And what I want to do is I want to get a game in here loaded in as quickly as I can, so I can spot check that game while others are importing, while others are scanning in. I can be working versus it takes an hour and a half to import 12 games because it's trying to do all of them at once, whereas it can do one game, let me work on this game while the second game's importing. Then I can work on the second game while the third game's importing, and so on from there. And exporting it is the same way. It's going to export one game at a time. Then I could get this game in Google Drive while the next game is exporting and rendering and all that. But you can go from here, and like I said, once you press that processing button, you can walk away, go back and watch some other film or things like that. But that is how we're going to be able to clip up film in All-22 Review. It'll export it to whatever folder you had it set to, and it's going to export it as a clip-001.mp4, totally ready to add to your library. I'll say to right here, this the arrows, circles right here, the swirl, that is the refresh library button. So if you get a film put in there, after it's done exporting, you'll want to refresh your library so it'll pick up that new film in there, and then you'll be ready to watch it. You'll have to, if you've got an Excel sheet of data like we had for that Raiders game, then I'll have to go put it in that folder if I want the data to show up down here below. But overall, in terms of being able to clip films, we can do that here in All-22 Review